Okay, at this time, we have our next item, miscellaneous items. I believe we have Commissioner Kramer, you had an item?
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Again, can't believe it's 10:30. It is with great regret that I come before my colleagues tonight and ask you to support my decision to censure Commissioner Joseph for what I consider to be reckless and malicious behavior by spreading pure propaganda inside and outside these city chambers. It was last Tuesday evening's meeting, September 17th, that we all sat at our seats on the dais and found a copy of an email from former Mayor Beth Spiegel, which had been previously sent to our city emails on September 2nd. Worse than that, it is that these same printed copies were found stacked at the visitors' table in the chamber lobby. This is the same table where attendees pick up the agendas for our meetings as well as other important citywide notices. These copies were not provided by city staff, which is the usual protocol. In fact, for a time, they were just known to have mysteriously appeared until requests for our city security cameras to be investigated revealed that the culprit was our very own colleague, Commissioner Joseph. I hope no one is wondering why I feel this act was so offensive, but just in case you are, let me tell you why. In our city Citizens' Bill of Rights, it specifically mentions truth in government, and it states that no municipal official or employee shall knowingly furnish false information on a public matter, nor knowingly omit significant facts when giving requested information to members of the public. The email and opinions of former Mayor Spiegel were her opinions, and they were based on a very one-sided article in the Miami New Times regarding a late-night discussion about our city's legal department. Former Mayor Spiegel formed her opinion without ever contacting me or anyone that I know of at City Hall. I was quite shocked by her email to us and so angered by it that I shot back an email to her, letting her know that she had no depth of detail to what was happening in our city as it relates to the ongoing discussion about our legal department, and basically that I was appalled that she would rely on an article that was based mainly on assumptions. In fact, the author of that article didn't even contact me, and I was very vocal on this subject matter. And if he had reached out to me, he would have heard another perspective along with the facts. What Commissioner Joseph is trying to do by sneakily putting out this email is persuade uninformed citizens with information that is false, and to boot, he attempts to bring disgrace and harm to our city, as well as someone's reputation, specifically our city attorney, Sarah Johnson. It is declared to be the policy of the state that public officers and employees, state and local, are agents of the people and hold their positions for the benefit of the public. They are bound to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state constitution, and to perform efficiently and faithfully their duties under the laws of the federal, state, and local governments. Such officers and employees are bound to observe in their official acts the highest standard of ethics consistent with code and the advisory opinions rendered with respect hereto, regardless of personal considerations, recognizing that promoting the public interest and maintaining the respect of the people in their government must be a foremost concern. I cite this from the Florida Code of Ethics to remind everyone what our duties are here. If Commissioner Joseph wants to openly discuss his opinions about what is happening in the city as it relates to ongoing business, issues, and concerns, he should do it from the dais. And if he wants to fill the air with his propaganda, so be it. But delivering it with an invisible cloak, which as we now know is not invisible, he stains our city with negativity that shouldn't be accepted from any of us. Let's not forget that it was just 4 months ago that Commissioner Joseph brought before this commission a discussion item to censure our mayor over comments he made on his private Facebook page that were provoking and unacceptable, and you voted to censure him. Now I bring the same discussion item to you. Commissioner Joseph covertly used city resources to secretly put out a message that he supports, and he used City Hall to do it. That message spreads allegations and paints our city, this commission, and our city attorney in a very negative way. Hopefully, this will be the last censure to come across this dais. We must act and govern in our great city with the highest ethical standards because hashtag we are NMB, and we are one vision, one mission, and one city. And I'd like to have a discussion.
Thank you, Commissioner Kramer. Well, this is pretty intense. All of us know what we went through last week here. I'd like to open the dais for comments from any of my colleagues, please, as we move forward.
I would like to ask Commissioner Joseph, somebody saying something, does he have something he wants to say?
Because there's an active ethics investigation, I don't want to murky that up. What I will say is that
If I can just clarify,
No.
it's not an active ethics investigation.
Okay.
It's not a formal complaint.
Okay.
It was, somebody made an initial inquiry. They look into it to determine if there's a complaint, and an investigation ensues after a formal complaint.
but I also know that each one of us, from my understanding, was interviewed by the Ethics Commission on this issue, on this matter the letter that Spiegel, our former mayor, wrote about. And I'll leave it at that. But like I said, there isn't, from my understanding and from what was communicated to me, I understand.
So just through the mayor, if I could, just so we
Yes.
can clear this one issue up, an anonymous complaint was made to the Ethics Commission after a meeting where the head of the ethics director said very clearly that there was no violation that he was aware of, based on my actions, based on conversations he had with me. We then have all met with the Ethics Commission to determine, after this anonymous complaint was submitted, if there's anything worthy of an investigation. So they've concluded their report should be coming soon. But it's my understanding that all their understanding at the beginning, based on their conversations, was consistent with what the head of the Ethics Commission said as to the issue, one of the limited issues regarding my office. So there's not an ongoing ethics investigation.
But has the report come back yet?
It's not a report because
Or
it's not a formal complaint. So no, he hasn't given a response.
He hasn't given a response yet, right?
Yeah, we all had the
That's what I'm alluding
discussion.
to. I'm sorry.
Okay, so in all respect, Madam Attorney, your point is absolutely right. In my belief, the commissioner is out of line and is wrong. The facts that are being brought before us today are in fact tied to the behavior and actions of a certain individual and not with this investigation. And using our city's machinery, paperwork, and quite frankly, deceiving our city clerk and her staff and her office is disgraceful.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm not finished.
Okay.
And I haven't recognized you, so please hang on. It's disgraceful to go into an office and for that lady sitting over here, our clerk, to try and help him, but turns her back in good faith to do something. And this commissioner runs off copies of something he wants to pass out. His private agenda. We all had a copy of this. Madam Clerk, you know very well what happened in your office. It's been recorded on cameras. What we saw here on the second floor, and it wasn't right. And it wasn't right. So we have a responsibility up here, just like any other situation that should occur, to take the appropriate measures and actions. And that is not permissible, to put that stuff out there and bypass the process that this city has, which, by the way, everybody sees when we're up here and knows that everything goes through the city clerk. And to follow that process is to do the right thing. And to do anything else but that process is to do the wrong thing and to do a deceiving act. So yes, that's how I feel. And I'll gladly open the floor to any of my other commissioners who wish to make a statement at this time. Vice Mayor?
You know, I'll make a statement. I always tell everybody I'm newly elected, 12 years. And I have to tell you, this censure thing, I'll bet there's most meetings, I don't have any social media of any kind, but I'll bet you there's plenty that should be censured up here. You know, I'm so against that, but this may take it to a whole different level. And why does it take it to a different level? Because one of the things we're not allowed to do with the sunshine, and much to my colleagues' aggravation, if I let it go with one, I have to let it go with everyone. And what I saw when we first started was a communication that I didn't think was right to the public. It wasn't right that you discuss it or you say something, or so I understand you want to say, I'm going to go to the bathroom, or you have a stain on your shirt, or you need to wipe your face. But if you're going to do it, you have to do it off the dais, or you have to do it so it doesn't appear that we're doing something that isn't right. And I'm going to take my few minutes one step further, if I could, Mr. Mayor, because I think that this is so important. And I don't mind being the fall on a lot of things, because I've been around and I have a very strong concept of what I think my role is here, to take care of the public to the best of my ability today and in the future. And I had Alan Rosenthal on the phone about the extension. He called to wish me a Happy New Year. He called, I said, come on. You're really calling because you were hired as the lobbyist and you do your due diligence. You call all 7 of us. But Alan, why is it that Dean's Gold is still sitting there? Why? I was in Aventura last week, and north of the hospital, 2 huge buildings. Why? When you go across the street, 2 new huge buildings where the funeral parlor was. Why is next to the storage another new building? Why, when you go to Sunny Isles, there's a moratorium on building? Why, when you go to North Miami, Mia is building a 10-year program? And here we are, right in the middle, prime property. And you know the answer? The answer was this reasoning. The answer is that as a commission is supposed to be one and one vision, and that's why for everybody to just listen to that whole thing and think that I'm just constantly talking about the building and about why when we're talking about censure. Don't you understand it all goes hand in hand? If we can't conduct ourselves like elected professional people to take care of the public, and we have to bring up censure twice in the last couple months, why would developers come and want to work with us? And do you understand that Dean's Gold, without them developing, the train station comes into play? Because if there was a development there, the train station would look at us differently. So it all goes hand in hand. If we really want to be responsible, and I'm going to say it because I'm in my 70s, we have to stop it. We have to stop it. I think what the commissioner's bringing up is a difference between which I didn't even know, if I could ask the clerk, that he went to the clerk's office and he used your copier without you knowing that he was going to use it?
No, that's not my recollection. Commissioner Joseph, I printed some copies and I had to leave. I don't know what, I never read it, so I don't know what the content of those documents were. There was a public records request, and it does show the individual who dropped documents on the desk, but in the clerk's office, I didn't read it because I was in a hurry and I was in a rush. I didn't want to leave the commission that way, so I asked another staff member if they could assist Commissioner Joseph, but I left. I went upstairs to the manager's office.
Mr. Mayor, one more second.
May I add a question to you?
Sure.
And your staff member, did they stay close to the copy machine and see what was going on?
No, Commissioner Joseph just assembled it themselves.
Okay, so he was in the room.
The thing that I want to say is, most people know I had a meeting today with Planning and Zoning, and Mr. Prophet's here, and the city attorney's here, and I have a different personality. One of the gentlemen's getting married. I'm telling him that he better come to me for some counseling first. But I'm taking this extremely serious. I am taking this extremely serious. Because we're changing the way the public and the businesses and the investors are looking at us based on our actions. And this is serious. I believe the Sunshine Law says if you're going to vote on it now or in the near future, that you cannot discuss it. And I almost wonder if that goes also to putting printed material outside where you're swaying somebody's opinion before they sit here and have a discussion. To me, those items should be in discussion. It's just as bad as sending an email, if you send an email around with that on it. So I don't know what's happening here. I must tell you that it's very difficult to come here anymore and be on this commission. I have responsibility to the people that elected me to do it. Mr. Williams keeps saying they need me. The manager keeps saying they need me. But if you're on the other side, there's plenty of people that say it's enough already. So I have to say, I respect you for bringing it forward. I have to say I'm disappointed that we have to even discuss this. And you say, I hope this is the last time. But how could it be if you don't change? How could it be? So I'm very disillusioned again, and now Ms. Smith isn't speaking to me. It makes me even sadder. She's my ally, but I have to tell you, this is a serious thing because our investors, our developers, our future, our train station, everybody's looking at us. And you know what they see? It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you for allowing me to take this time because I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner, I see your mic on.
I have a question for the clerk. Is there any protocol or any sign that you cannot put anything on that table? That it's only exclusively for the city clerk? I just want to be clear for everyone that basically this whole thing is about me putting something on a table outside this commission. So if you can clarify for him, is there? Okay. Could you?
Commissioner Joseph, I'm going to defer to the attorney.
Yeah, just to clarify, the commission has not adopted anything. There's nothing written providing that table is reserved for city clerk documents. However, that's the only thing that's ever there. If anybody private places something there, it's removed. So that table is only for the dissemination of city documents.
Was it removed?
It was removed by the city clerk.
Okay.
Could I just follow up on that one question? I know you want to speak, but could it be considered a sunshine violation to have that information
I
simulated?
don't believe so.
Like an
Sunshine,
email?
a sunshine would be an engagement back and forth, and that would be a one-way communication. So I don't believe so.
If you send an email to all your colleagues, that would be a sunshine violation discussing that.
Not if you sent it one way, it's not a sunshine violation. It would be if any of them responded. And in this particular instance, I don't believe it was clear until after the public records request who had placed it out there.
So the fact that then the second thing was printed with the answer, does that? Because then we had another commissioner give a different opinion.
But these are records that were
Aren't both-
disseminated, but, I mean, although it was addressing certain issues you may be voting on, it wasn't really a discussion, but just placing it out there, I would say is not a sunshine violation. And having other information disseminated, it was an answer to, it was a response to a former elected official, because at that time, it was still unknown who put the document out there. So the person who responded was unaware that it was a commissioner on the dais who actually disseminated that.
I see. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, and also I think the response was through the city clerk as well. It was given to the city clerk, not directly, but to us. But no, I'm saying as far as this, the second one. I'm talking about what you wrote. Yeah. So with this here, I'm a little frazzled as to the full content of what's going on here, okay? As far as whether or not a commissioner can, put something outside to give further information to residents and things like that, the intent really is what I would take a look at when I don't really know the intent. But what I will say is I will second what Commissioner Smith is saying, because this is beginning to get a little much, that it even makes me think about what we did a couple of months ago. That are we able to voice our opinion without necessarily doing something that rises to the level of censorship? Are we able to give a comment like we usually do during our closing statements, make our points heard and move forward without having to get to this point? I know that we're supposed to be meeting in the next couple of days or next couple of weeks to address a lot of these things, and I'm glad that Commissioner Kramer had brought up this subject matter of policies, procedures, et cetera, governance, because it is something that's very, very important. Because we are here to serve our residents. We're here to make sure that we govern properly and accordingly and properly, and to make sure that we do the best job that we possibly can on behalf of our residents. The office and politics to a certain degree, not to a certain degree, office and politics has to be separated. Because we're when we're up here, we are public servants. When we're out there, when we're discussing things with residents and et cetera, we may have views and things that we express when we're out there. But when we're in this building, I believe that we have a task, and that task is to make sure that we move this city forward in unison. So I think this whole topic has really gotten out of hand. But as far as censorship, I do second what my Commissioner Smith has said. I think that we should definitely take a strong look at how we respond to what commissioners may or may not do. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree that documents should be, we already received the email. So for me, it was, why am I receiving this again? But as far as censorship, for what it means to me, I would fall short of doing that. And, because of what that means to me and what I understand it to mean. So that's my opinion.
May I speak?
Commissioner?
I find it almost appalling, and it's shameful, because and I hate to go back to 4 months ago, because I don't want to rehash, and I wasn't here that evening, that Commissioner Joseph brought up what the mayor did in his private Facebook page. You, Commissioner Joseph, took an item that is so offensive to our city clerk, and you decided to spread it among our citizens to read. Her thoughts. This is not just about him putting it out there, okay, like a little sneak that he is, okay? This is about what was in the message. And you all maybe need to refresh yourselves with what was in that message, because it was malicious, it was not nice, it was offensive, and it wasn't true. And that's why I'm doing this. It's not so much if he were to have snuck out there and put something about the YMCA. Okay, this was something that was about one of us, our charter officer. And I find it amazing to me that it was very simple that he come up here and do this to our mayor, but he's off limits.
Commissioner,
Excuse me.
okay.
So I think let's stop with the fact that he used City Hall, he used our copy machine, he snuck out and put it out there when no one was looking. Let's forget all that. Let's think if he even would have sat here and said, I'm going to deliver these to everybody out here, and put a face to the email. That's a problem. And while I'll agree that it's not nice to muddy the waters and put this out there for other people to see, just like I don't appreciate you being the police and thinking that I would ever, that Commissioner Villard and I would ever, or when I sat here next to another mayor or another commissioner, that I would ever violate the Sunshine Law, which I wouldn't do outside of the dais, let alone on the dais. And I really feel that when we do have that public policy and procedures and protocol meeting, that the next time you feel, or any of you feel, that any one of us are violating the Sunshine Law, we better just stop the meeting. And I think that the city attorney needs to take us in separate rooms and talk to us like an investigation, and let her determine if we're breaking the Sunshine Law. Because if you think that if I was that person, I would admit it up here, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? So let's stop the nonsense. I'm not doing this because I want to paint a bad picture. But you know what? Censure is censure, and maybe everyone learns from it and starts behaving themselves, because quite frankly, this never happened as long as I've been here. But please look at the context to what was in those emails. That is what's shameful. Forget the act.
Go ahead, Commissioner Joseph. And
I just don't want to make a false equivalency to what happened 4 months ago in regards to the discussion and the censorship of the mayor. That was racially tinged, and I'm making that clear to anybody who's watching, that there's a lot of things tied to that last censure. You spoke in behalf of you spoke against what the mayor said on that issue. You berated him.
I'm not saying it was.
No, what I'm saying is that was racially tinged. That was that he said, and he said a lot of comments, and I don't want to rehash what happened, but he said a lot of comments that went afoul my particular background and two other commissioners' particular backgrounds, and we were blasted online as being some type of cabal based on our Haitian descent. That was that particular censorship.
no, Commissioner, you dug your grave when you put that out there and you did that. You know.
Mayor, from my understanding, I believe that we had a discussion after that event. I know we haven't been friends or cordial. I mean, we haven't been friends, but I believe we've been cordial, and I've been able to move past this. What we're talking about today is basically me putting something on a table outside this dais, that the contents were removed, apparently, by the city clerk, and that was it. That's basically what happened. That's the equivalency that Commissioner Kramer is trying to allude to, that that racial type of discussion that was had back then is the same as putting a document on the table outside.
Yeah, Vice Mayor, go ahead, and
Thank you.
we're going to
I-
move forward with this.
No, this is too important. This is very important. I don't understand the difference. Being Jewish and being fat and having come from poor, I understand prejudice. I might not be black, but trust me, I understand prejudice. And I mean severely. I faced it up here with the bullying in the last meeting, and I said it, because whether it's true or not, that's the way I felt. And, people are telling me, you don't have to go back. I do have to go back. The people elected me to come here. But what's the difference between you feeling that he made maligns against you? And at that time, I said, we're going to open a Pandora's box with this censure. I said it here. And I hadn't even seen it, so I couldn't really speak on it. But what's the difference between that and putting something out that takes one of our charter officers and could bury her career? What's the difference? Because it was an entire race and it's only one person? Burying in shame is burying in shame. If you do it to one, I saw something so uplifting today where the little girl has spondyphia and she's 10 years old and they're all going to go on a field trip and she can't walk across the rocks. And her mother's prepared to make another arrangement like she usually does to take her for ice cream. And the teacher that was not her teacher stepped up and he said, I'm putting her on my back and she's going to go on this field trip. What happened in North Miami Beach that nobody wants to lift anybody else up? And you know what, Commissioner Kramer, I'm going to explain to you calmly and nicely, because you brought it up, as you sometimes like to do. I'm going to tell you nicely that when I sat here from the first meetings and watched the whispering between new colleagues and watched the whispering between a colleague and one of their friends or one of their colleagues that they happen to be closer to, I put a stop to it. And so you have to hear we're either all going to do it or nobody's going to do it. That's the way I felt about it. And I said when I saw it, oh my God, I have to say something. I can't believe it. If it's good to stop them, it's good to stop you. And if you want to say no, then everybody can talk to each other. We'll never know. I'm just telling you that this is so aggravating that this commission would rather bury each other than work together. And there's a woman that has had 7 years, 10 years, I don't know. She looks like she's 22, but there's a lot of years. So if it's not here in North Miami Beach, why would you jeopardize somebody's career that works for you? If you don't like her and you think she's done wrong, bring up a motion to terminate her. You have that right. You can bring it up every meeting. But to try to go in the public and bury somebody that's our charter officer, my upbringing doesn't sit with me. It does not sit with me. So I can tell you that I think it was horrid that anybody would say anything against you. I've gone to Haiti, and if you see the poverty there and the struggle there, you would go and try to embrace every single person that comes to America and help them. But to say that that is so much more, somebody has to explain it to me. Because explain it to me, please. Commissioner McKenzie, I appreciate if you do.
No, I'm not trying to explain. I'm not trying to explain that to you. But what I will say is that what concerns me is some of the same things that is concerning to you, commissioners. That I've lived in this city for 22 years. Moved here when I was 15 years old, and this city means a lot to me. I'm serving in this position not to be elected, but I'm serving in this position because this city means a lot to me. I could have moved a long time ago, been somewhere else, done something else, but I'm here because North Miami Beach is important to me. And we are the faces of this city. We are the faces of this city. So we need to be very cognizant of that. And we need to move and act accordingly. And when you mentioned opening up a can of worms, that's along the same lines of what I said earlier, where it is a can of worms. I'm not saying that I condone anything, I'm saying that it is a can of worms that possibly we need to think about moving forward how we address these types of issues. Because for anything that someone does, we can possibly censure, and that is a very high level reprimand. And it does send a message to everyone who's watching us. Well, once again, I'm not saying I condone that because, as I said before, I received the email. I don't know why it was disseminated over again. That I wouldn't do. But I think that we need to think twice before we make any types of decisions as to how the city of North Miami Beach will look, what the perception will be, and what the residual effects will be as well. Because there's a lot of conversation tonight that, you know what, to be honest with you, I didn't think about the residual or the ripple effects of maybe disseminating something of that sort. But those are things that we have to think about. We have to be cognizant about those things. But as I stated before, just like Commissioner Smith, the censure, I don't think this is our remedy to make this commission a better commission. I don't think this is our remedy for some of the issues that we have that we need to overcome. But I think that there needs to be a remedy. There needs to be a way to address this because otherwise I believe we work very well together. Otherwise I do. And I appreciate the fact that we did have a change and after what happened a couple of months ago, 4 months ago. And I will say that from my seat, the mayor has been, leading the ship in the meetings and with, in a stellar way. And we have worked very well together. And I like the direction that the commission is moving in. But these hiccups really set us back. They really do. And I think that when we do certain things, we need to be cognizant of what the reflection is on our entire commission. So that's my humble opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Villard, and then Commissioner Smuckler, if you have a word, and then we're...
Well, I don't know where to begin, but what I can say is like, when we sit here as mayor and commissioners, we just have to remember that we are public servants and we are here for the public, for our constituents. It's nothing personal. I mean, we have to understand that we are not here for our personal things. So if things are happening, let's try to find a common ground, like to solve the problems. Definitely, when I saw the video, I wasn't happy. I didn't really like it because, put yourself in the position. Sorry, can I just ask what video? Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, did all of you see the video?
The video of Commissioner Joseph coming onto the second floor. Thank you.
Right. So it's like sometimes we do things like because we are, we feel like we heard for something and we have to retaliate or we have to do this and we have to do that. But we have to understand sometimes that we are hurting people personally. And, as an attorney, as a friend of mine, as a commissioner, Commissioner Joseph, Attorney Sarah, she's an attorney as well. So, and I'm sure you know the consequences of doing certain things or putting certain things. I don't think you probably thought about, what could have happened. And good thing that no one had the papers. We are the only one who know about it. And as of tonight, she's still, on your side, like trying to help you, saying that, this paper is not something that, sunshine and everything. She's still defending you. So personally, on my seat, I understand maybe you did that without like thinking, like what was going to happen after. But I think that's me. I don't think it's kind of a censure because of what the attorney said, but I think it should be an apology, even though not everybody was aware of it in the, in the meeting except us. But it's something that could have really damaged her reputation as an attorney. So I think you probably should really apologize, like, and then let's continue working together to make a difference in the community. I mean, that's the second time that happens here. And I don't think, like Commissioner Smith or Commissioner Kramer said, I don't think that's what we need to concentrate on. It's so much good that we can do in the community, in our city. I came from Haiti in 1981. I've been living in the city of North Miami since 1988. I have 3 children here, so it's very personal to me as well. So I think we said that we want to represent the city, we want to represent the constituent. We also are residents. So I mean, let's take it seriously. If something happens, let's bring it somehow. I don't know, I mean, how to bring it here, and let's discuss it, but let's not try to hurt each other, because at the end of the day, we have families, we have friends, we have people that we care about, and they're looking at us. So, I would say, like, from now on, let's not try to hurt each other. We're not going to be friends. We're not going to agree on everything. But, let's try to really, work together and help our city becoming that one vision, one mission, one city, instead of, trying to find things that are hurting, like it hurts you, then you're going to hurt somebody else, then she's going to hurt him. I mean, it's like immaturity to me. It's like, let's focus on the real reason why we were elected. We were elected to be the voice of over 44,000 people. And let's not take anything personal. And from now on, let's all work together and to continue making a difference. Because so far tonight, we having a great meeting. And I think if we stay focused, we can do greater things for our community. This is what I have. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Smuggler?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I just want to start by beginning to say that when I spoke to Commissioner Flamand on the dais, I asked him the name of somebody, and he just asked me for some candy. And that's what our conversations are about, and that's what our conversations will always and only be about what's somebody's name, can I have some candy? If either one of us were to violate sunshine, I hope that he would call me out and I would call him out. So please be rest assured that when we're talking to each other, it's for silly little things. And also I just have to say this to Mr. Kazan, because it does have to do with us. When you say we're the second, because the newspaper article said we're the second most corrupt city in the county in Florida, I don't know what it was. But just because it says it in an article doesn't mean that it's true, or doesn't mean that it's still true. And I'm bringing it up now because I don't want us to be in the headlines once again. I want us to get away from the headlines. I want us to get away from newspapers wanting to write about us, and other commissioners coming up to me when I see them in other places saying, "Oh, you guys this and you guys that." So really, this needs to stop. But now, as a mother of 2 kids that went to law school, I'm really, really conflicted here, because on one hand, Sarah's our attorney's reputation is being maligned, and at the same time, if we were to censure Commissioner Joseph, I'm not sure how a censure would look upon his to the bar or anything. I don't know if it's something that could hurt him. So, as a mother of two kids that graduated law school, I don't like what's happening to either one of them. I don't like what he did. I don't like what could happen to him, and I certainly don't like what was done to Sarah and what could happen to the attorney, what happened to the attorney and what could happen to the attorney because of this. But Commissioner Smith is right. I don't remember you saying that this would open a can of worms, but I believe you. I believe you. And sometimes, you know, if you can go back in time and change things, I think that if I had known then what I know now, I would not have participated in the censure nor allowed it or try to remove it or whatever it's necessary to have happened, because like now, if we can, now every time someone sneezes, oh, we're going to censure them. And I don't mean to call it, you know, as a joke, but, you know, that's how it's going to be. We're going to censor now for everything that every single person does. So this is something that I really wish I had, like, like it was something on the agenda that I can go to agenda review and discuss and have time to think about, because this is not something that I enjoy doing, and this is not something that I think is right for any of us to be doing, and I don't think this is something right that was done to our city attorney, and I don't think there was something right that was done to put our city clerk on the spot like that. But we do need to move on, and we need to show, as Commissioner Smith stated originally, that we do need to show our developers and the people interested in North Miami Beach that we are one mission, one vision, one mission, one city, and that we are one. So I'm still thinking of what I'm going to do, but I really think that we just need to get along. And I also think, Commissioner Joseph, that you owe our attorney a big apology, and I think you also need to promise that you're just not going to try to conflict with her anymore. And if that's a promise you can make, and if that's a promise I believe you can keep, then that would sway the way that I do things, the way that I'm going to vote on this. But it has to be sincere, and it has to be for real, because if not, I'll bring it up next time. You need to give her peace. She's a human being, and she needs to work. She needs to work with all 7 of us, and she needs peace in her life. And we are her bosses, but we can't make her life miserable. She has to answer to all 7 of us, but we have to be respectful of her. That's it.
Okay, did you? I'll wait for you. No, I was waiting to call the question, so.
Before you call the question, could you just clarify something? Could somebody just tell me the definition of censure one more time? Did you? I'd like to know what the definition of censure is.
I'll read the same one that we used the last time. It's a formal statement of disapproval. It's a formal and public condemnation of an individual's behavior.
Of their behavior. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't even have to be the content. It could be also that they went outside and I didn't see the video, so I can't say they were sneaking.
I asked for him to apologize.
I haven't even.
I'd like to hear that.
I haven't even.
Before we vote, I'd like to.
Okay, you're finished, Commissioner Joseph?
Sarah, now what I will say is that I apologize for putting it on the table. The proper course should have been asking the city clerk to disseminate as how Commissioner Kramer, I guess, subsequently did after the fact. I apologize for that, and I would like to move forward. And I can say with all sincerity that I can move forward in a professional manner for the betterment of the city. And hopefully you can accept that.
Thank you, but just to be clear, it's not my request. I understand it's a colleague, but I just would like to formally say, this is a discussion for the commission. This is a decision for the commission. I will always, as long as I'm the city attorney, I will be the city attorney for all of you in your roles. So this does not play into my behavior and to how I'm going to interact with any of the commissioners. Commissioner Joseph, as well as any of the other commissioners, can still continue to seek any counsel from my office. Anything they need for the agenda is not an issue. And I have proven that time and time again with each of you. So there is no issue from my office and myself. So there's no concern. While I appreciate it, it's unnecessary. You have your respective roles, I have mine. Unfortunately, mine sometimes means I have to give opinions that maybe isn't exactly what everybody wants to hear. But notwithstanding that, I'm going to continue to do my job as long as I'm here.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. Commissioner Smuckler, I don't know if that appeases you or changes anything, but I will tell you the damage has been done. We have 2 charter officers that have been raked over the coals this past week, and emails have gone out and people have seen what's going on. So the fact that, this is not nothing that's unknown to anybody. It's out in the public. There's people that have put public records requests on all this information. And I think it's up to us to really set the precedent of the procedures, and that the same way other things are not tolerated up here, neither are these type of actions. And we said before, moving forward, we weren't going to have any more issues again. And here we are today discussing another issue. And it was something that was done very sneaky. You could see it on the video. And the information really affected our city attorney and her future with any other firm, for that matter. Because it's not only the developers that are looking and the investors that are looking, it's the people that are looking at even our charter officers that are looking at us.
Or for a job in the law.
So, you know what? This lawyer has also taken a shot that may affect her. That may have, the way people look at that. It has? Wow. I cannot sit here and justly vote to let this go by when I know that something has been a detriment to one of my charter officers. I'm sorry. I really hope that everybody thinks very clearly on this vote, because this cannot happen in this city. It cannot happen to any charter officer. In the same way it's happening to these 2, don't think that for a minute we don't have another one that's being harassed.
Congress adopted a resolution.
Excuse me? Don't think that there's another charter officer that's not having the problems. So by far, this is not the end of this. There's still another round to go, maybe 2. I'm gonna close this up.
Everybody knows the definition? Acceptable standards for individual behavior.
Okay. I think we've all said what we had to say. We've all taken several bites at the apple. I think we all understand the severity of what's before us. And as the good stewards of this city that we are, it's up to us right now to make a decision on the message we're going to send moving forward. about respect in these charter officers, not just these two, but all three of them. All three of them. Because just today we witnessed another act when we went out to take pictures that was intolerable. Intolerable to that manager that burns his ass every day. Yes, I'm going to say it. Every day. It's unpermissible. Madam Clerk, we're going to call the question. All in favor?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Maybe my fault, I didn't hear, but before you call the question, there was a second? I stand
Yes.
corrected, thank you.
Okay, so I have a first and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so it passes. Okay, next item, we got city manager's report. City manager?
Wait, I didn't vote.
That means a
I
yes.
know, but I didn't vote because I was thinking about it. I know, but I'm sorry to make a drama out of this, but this is not something that I take lightly.
Commissioner.
I'm sorry. This is not something that, I,
Yes.
I'm sorry that I'm doing this. I don't want to make, I remember somebody once did something like this at a commission meeting years ago, and it was very drama-ish like, and I'm not trying to do that. I know it's happening, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm seriously thinking about something, and I don't want to just vote to vote.
You're a yes vote? Excuse me.
I would go to the bathroom too, but she's there. I'm sorry. I really apologize about this. Can we take a 5-minute break?
Commissioner, I know it's a tough
I
decision.
know it's a
but
tough decision, but I
we
just
need-
don't
we
want
need
to
to-
do the wrong decision.
Everybody's voted. We're waiting for you. It's 11:30 at night.
I know. I'm the one who always complains that it's late.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I believe Commissioner Villard also did not vote.
I didn't know, like, I was waiting, I didn't know, like, not saying anything. I haven't voted.
Okay, so it's not just me.
So, Madam Clerk, we're going to have some type of a forum here because people saying they don't vote and they vote, it's a yes vote.
That's my understanding. But as you're speaking to Commissioner Smuggler, I can't help but to see she's waving and signaling me.
Okay.
So
We've all voted and we're waiting for one vote.
Well, she's saying
saying
that
she
she
did
didn't
not.
vote either.
No, I didn't know it was that set. I didn't vote. No.
Okay? So then the question has been asked and we need to resolve. And
Can I just say something?
right now, there's no more
Oh,
discussion.
no more, so, okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Good night, everybody. When that happened to the mayor, he knew what that drama.
No, I know, but we're learning from our mistakes. And because we're learning from our mistakes, I want to make sure I learn correctly and do things right.
No, good night.
So here's the thing, I can't vote, so,
You have to vote.
I'm saying, but if I can't vote, but so a silent vote is
Yes.
a yes. So I'm not intentionally voting yes. I can't make a decision, so it is what it is.
Madam Clerk, how does that work? Please clarify when you can't intentionally, but you're not voting, so it's a yes. Please clarify that for me.
Okay, a no vote is considered to be a yes vote.
I know, so it's a yes vote.
It's a yes vote. Excuse me, I have the floor and I'm running the meeting. You're correct. You're correct, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Villar, we need your vote so we can move forward.
No,
What just happened?
no.
No, okay, so it's 4-3 and it passes the censure of Commissioner Michael Joseph. City Manager's report.